Welcome to Millionaire Mindset, your essential companion for navigating the complexities of global geopolitics and its impact on financial markets. In this comprehensive video, we delve into the intricate relationship between the Iran-Israel conflict and the Indian stock market, exploring strategies to mitigate potential risks and capitalize on opportunities in times of uncertainty. Join me as we navigate this dynamic landscape and uncover the strategies that can fortify your investments and steer you towards financial resilience. Before we delve into this, I kindly ask you to consider subscribing to our channel. By hitting the subscribe button and ringing the bell icon, you'll stay updated and never miss out on our latest videos. Your support means the world to us. Let us move on. The ongoing tensions between Iran and Israel have long been a cause for concern on the global stage, with potential ramifications extending beyond the Middle East. As two significant players in the geopolitical landscape, any escalation in hostilities between them carries the risk of disrupting global markets, including India's stock market. This video explores the potential impact of the Iran-Israel conflict on the Indian stock market, strategies to mitigate these effects, and the potential consequences of failing to address these risks effectively. Understanding the Iran-Israel conflict. The conflict between Iran and Israel is multifaceted, rooted in historical, political, and religious differences that have evolved over decades. Understanding the complexities of this conflict requires examining its historical context, key issues of contention, and the broader geopolitical dynamics at play. Let us go back in history. The origins of the Iran-Israel conflict can be traced back to the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948 and the subsequent Arab-Israeli wars. Iran, then under the rule of the Shah, initially maintained cordial relations with Israel. However, the Iranian Revolution of 1979, which led to the overthrow of the Shah and the establishment of an Islamic Republic, marked a significant turning point in Iran-Israel relations. The new Iranian regime, led by Ayatollah Khomeini, adopted an anti-Israel stance, viewing the Jewish state as an illegitimate entity occupying Muslim lands. This ideological opposition to Israel became a cornerstone of Iran's foreign policy, shaping its relations with neighboring countries and regional actors. What caused the contention? Several key issues contribute to the ongoing tensions between Iran and Israel, including Iran's nuclear program. One of the most contentious issues is Iran's nuclear program, which Israel views as a direct threat to its security. Iran's pursuit of nuclear capabilities has raised concerns among the international community, leading to sanctions and diplomatic efforts to curb its nuclear ambitions. Support for militant groups. Iran's support for militant groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza is another source of tension. Israel accuses Iran of arming and financing these groups to carry out attacks against Israeli targets, further fueling hostilities between the two sides. Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains a central issue in the broader Middle East, with Iran providing support to Palestinian groups opposed to Israeli occupation. Iran's anti-Israel rhetoric and material support for Palestinian militants contribute to the animosity between Iran and Israel. Regional power dynamics. The rivalry between Iran and Israel is also influenced by broader regional power dynamics, including Iran's efforts to expand its influence in the Middle East and Israel's strategic alliances with countries like the United States and Saudi Arabia. Geopolitical dynamics. The Iran-Israel conflict intersects with broader geopolitical dynamics, with both countries vying for influence in the Middle East and beyond. Iran's support for proxies and its pursuit of regional hegemony clash with Israel's security concerns and its alliances with other regional players. Moreover, the involvement of other global powers, such as the United States, Russia, and European countries, adds another layer of complexity to the conflict. The Iran nuclear deal, for example, was a result of international efforts to address Iran's nuclear program, but its subsequent unraveling under the Trump administration heightened tensions between Iran and its adversaries. How the Indian stock market is impacted by this? The Iran-Israel conflict has the potential to impact the Indian stock market through various channels, including oil prices, investor sentiment, and market volatility. As an oil-importing country with significant trade ties to the Middle East, India is particularly vulnerable to disruptions in the region that could affect its economy and financial markets. Oil prices. One of the most direct impacts of the Iran-Israel conflict on the Indian stock market is through oil prices. Any escalation in hostilities or disruption in oil supplies from the Middle East could lead to a spike in global oil prices, as the region is a major oil-producing hub. Since India relies heavily on imported oil to meet its energy needs, higher oil prices can have adverse effects on the economy, including inflationary pressures and reduced consumer spending. Investor sentiment. Geopolitical uncertainty tends to dampen investor sentiment and increase market volatility, as investors become more risk-averse and seek safer assets. In the event of heightened tensions between Iran and Israel, investors may withdraw capital from riskier assets, including emerging markets like India, and flock to safe haven assets such as gold and government bonds. This flight to safety can lead to capital outflows from the Indian stock market and put downward pressure on stock prices. Market volatility. Increased geopolitical tensions can exacerbate market volatility, making it difficult for investors to predict and manage risks. Sudden swings in stock prices, heightened trading activity, and increased uncertainty can create challenges for market participants, including retail investors, institutional investors, and market regulators. Volatility can also affect liquidity in the market, as investors may become more cautious and hesitant to trade during periods of uncertainty. How it affects the trade and economic impact. Beyond financial markets, the Iran-Israel conflict can also have broader economic implications for India, including trade disruptions and supply chain issues. Any disruption in trade routes or shipping lanes in the Middle East could affect India's imports and exports, leading to delays, higher transportation costs, and supply shortages. This, in turn, could impact various sectors of the Indian economy, including manufacturing, agriculture, and services, and ultimately affect corporate earnings and stock market performance. What are the strategies to mitigate the impact? To mitigate the impact of the Iran-Israel conflict on the Indian stock market, policymakers, investors, and market participants can adopt several strategies. Diversification. Investors can diversify their portfolios to reduce exposure to specific geopolitical risks associated with the Iran-Israel conflict. By investing in a range of asset classes, sectors, and geographies, investors can spread risk and minimize the impact of any single event on their overall portfolio performance. Diversification can help investors weather market volatility and preserve capital during periods of uncertainty. Hedging. Hedging strategies can help investors protect against adverse movements in asset prices triggered by geopolitical events. For example, investors can hedge against a rise in oil prices by purchasing futures contracts or options on oil-related assets. Similarly, investors can use options or derivatives to hedge against currency risk or volatility in the stock market. Hedging allows investors to limit potential losses while maintaining exposure to potential upside opportunities. Monitoring and analysis. Market participants should closely monitor developments in the Iran-Israel conflict and assess their potential impact on the Indian economy and stock market. Timely analysis and proactive risk management can help investors identify opportunities and mitigate potential losses. By staying informed and vigilant, investors can adjust their investment strategies and asset allocations in response to changing market conditions and geopolitical risks. Policy response. Policymakers can play a crucial role in stabilizing the economy and supporting the stock market in the event of a crisis. Central banks can use monetary policy tools, such as interest rate adjustments and liquidity injections, to maintain market stability and support economic growth. Governments can also implement fiscal stimulus packages and regulatory interventions to bolster investor confidence and mitigate the impact of geopolitical risks on the economy. By coordinating policy responses and working closely with market participants, policymakers can help mitigate the adverse effects of the Iran-Israel conflict on the Indian stock market. Consequences of inaction. Failing to address the risks posed by the Iran-Israel conflict could have serious consequences for the Indian stock market and the economy at large. A passive approach to geopolitical risks could leave investors vulnerable to market downturns, capital outflows, and economic instability. The consequences of inaction include prolonged market volatility. A lack of proactive risk management measures could lead to prolonged periods of market volatility as investors react to developments in the Iran-Israel conflict. Market uncertainty and heightened risk aversion could deter investors from entering the market or cause them to withdraw capital, exacerbating market downturns and hindering the recovery process. Capital outflows. Geopolitical tensions can trigger capital outflows from emerging markets like India, as investors seek safer assets in times of uncertainty. A sudden withdrawal of foreign capital could put downward pressure on stock prices, weaken the Indian rupee, and reduce liquidity in the market. Capital outflows can disrupt financial markets, increase borrowing costs, and hamper economic growth prospects. How this disrupts the economy? Inaction in the face of geopolitical risks could lead to broader economic disruptions, including trade disruptions, supply chain issues, and inflationary pressures. Any disruption in oil supplies from the Middle East could lead to higher oil prices, increasing input costs for Indian businesses and households. Supply shortages and trade disruptions could further exacerbate inflationary pressures and dampen consumer spending, affecting corporate earnings and economic growth. Loss of investor confidence. A passive approach to managing geopolitical risks could erode investor confidence in the Indian stock market and the economy at large. Investors may perceive India as a risky investment destination due to its exposure to geopolitical tensions and uncertainty. A loss of investor confidence could lead to a downward spiral of falling stock prices, capital outflows, and weakening economic fundamentals, undermining India's reputation as an attractive investment destination. What is the conclusion? The Iran-Israel conflict poses significant risks to the Indian stock market, with the potential for higher oil prices, investor uncertainty, and market volatility. However, proactive risk management strategies, including diversification, hedging, monitoring, and policy responses, can help mitigate these risks and safeguard the stability of India's financial markets. It is essential for policymakers, investors, and market participants to remain vigilant and prepared to respond swiftly to developments in the geopolitical landscape to minimize the impact on the Indian economy and ensure sustainable growth in the long term. By addressing the risks posed by the Iran-Israel conflict effectively, India can strengthen its resilience to external shocks and maintain its position as a vibrant and dynamic emerging market. If you are this far in the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like what we do, please like, share, and show your support in the comments section. Thank you for watching.